Year 739. This was the year that Broly had been waiting for, the year that Frieza would destroy the planet Vegeta. Broly may have left the planet Vegeta long ago. He had a beautiful spaceship, all the knowledge he could get from that planet. He had trained enough to overthrow King Vegeta with only half a fart and had created a substitute for him that would make no one aware of his absence. There were only two things that held him on that almost desolate planet. The first was to find the exact location of planet Earth. The Earth was a planet that was discovered a few days before the destruction of the planet Vegeta, and for now they had not found it, and needed that information before leaving. However, that was not the real reason why he was still on the surface of the planet Vegeta. Broly had infiltrators in the intelligence center, and had built several devices to communicate to his spaceship the exact coordinates of the new planets discovered. Therefore, he could travel through the universe until the coordinates were sent. The real reason why he was still on that planet was another, or you could say it was 2.5 reasons. With the great increase of their physical power, his cells were now able to store more energy, and in the same way they also created it in an overflowing way. His combat power, as indicated the energy detector created to record high numbers, marked the amount of 2.358.347. This increase in power was due to his not only to physical training and to control, there was another factor that contributed enormously, and that was the Zenkai. Also called Scion power. The power allows Scion to recover from harm in relatively short periods of time and become stronger after recovering. Goku and his training in the spaceship with artificial gravity 100 received great injuries, and thanks to the training and Zenkai his power went from 8.000 to 90.000. In the case of Broly went from 167.000 to 2.358.347, despite not having suffered so much damage due to his more intelligent and controlled training. This was something that Broly expected, and that added points to his initial theory about the Scion and the legendary Super Saiyan. After finishing his exhaustive and almost suicidal training, Broly spent a few weeks trying to get used to his new level of power. When he could control it in an efficient and effective way, slightly improving his power once more, he returned to training. However, he did not do that same training again. Although it has been a great training and the results have been practically unbeatable. From now on, I need to train my vital energy together with Ki and Nen at the same time I exercise. It has cost me more than I thought to resynchronize them, and much more to control them correctly. The more I increase my power in desynchronization, the more it will cost me to balance it again, despite Jugun's great help. I suppose if that method of training were so incredible and practical, more than one person would have used it in the manga or anime. I guess I'm smart, but not so much. His new training consisted in practicing his control of Nen and Ki at the same time he was exercising. For this he started to practice 3 of the most advanced Nen applications most needed for combat, the Ko, the Ken, and the Ryu. Ko, focusing all Nen on one point. An advanced technique which combines all the 4 fundamentals Ten, Zetsu, Ren, and Hatsu, whereby a Nen user focuses all the aura of his body on one point to attack or defend. This technique is very risky because while it makes one part of the body exceptionally powerful, it leaves the rest completely unprotected. Ken, protecting the whole body with Nen. A defensive technique whereby a Nen user maintains a state of Ren over their entire body. Compared to Ko, which concentrates all the user's aura on a body part, the defensive power of Ken is weaker on any given part of the body, but it allows the user to defend from all directions. Hence, it is suitable to use when fighting against multiple opponents. However, one must be careful not to overuse Ken to avoid running out of aura. Ryu, changing between Ken and Ko, is the technique of instantly switching between Ken and Ko. It allows the user to concentrate aura, Ko, or disperse aura, Ken, in a timely fashion, making their attack and defense more efficient. To use Ryu properly, one must also use their brain using the proper percent of concentration or dispersion according the situation. Above all, he trained his most significant and developed skill above all, the In, which with its power increase had grown so absurdly that it had managed to cover several planets near the planet Vegeta. It stretched out around billions of kilometers. The days passed while he continued practicing his skills. Until one day, 2 people appeared in outer space near planet Vegeta. As ugly as ever, it's a planet with very little charm. Do not you think? Said one of the people who appeared out of nowhere in space. You're right. Anyway, let's see what excuse is going to put the Monkey King. Let's get this over with quickly, I want to go to sleep one more time, said the other person. Those 2 people were within the range of N of Broly. They are already here. The last phase begins. How unusual, let's have a look, said the person from the space who seemed to be in charge. When saying those words, those two people disappeared for a moment from the position where Broly had located them and... Hey, boy, were you the one you were spying on us? Broly still waiting for something like that to happen, he was surprised at how quickly they had disappeared from his range and flight to appear behind him. Broly with some fear turned, and... There was no doubt, it was about the two people he had been waiting for, the reason why he still remained on the surface of the planet. He had been waiting for the two most powerful people in the Universe 7. The god of destruction Beerus and the angel Whis. According to Vegeta's flashback both in the anime and in the film. Beerus and Whis had visited the planet Vegeta because King Vegeta had not complied with Beerus' orders, and that would be the cause of the destruction of the whole planet in the hands of Frieza. However, by suggestion of Beerus. Therefore, the year 739 was the year they visited the planet Vegeta. Broly, as he had rehearsed, spoke very cordially to Bills. Sorry sir, it was not my intention to spy on you. I was training my vision when suddenly you appeared out of nowhere. It was incredible, so I couldn't stop looking. Beerus in a disinterested way said, oh I see. I forgive you. Anyway, it's quite impressive that a mortal is able to see from so far away. I guess I have to congratulate you. Beerus looked more closely at that strange child who had been able to observe him from space. Above all he noticed three things. Hey Whis, did I understand that the distinctive feature of the Scions is that they have a tail like that child, right? Beerus asked Whis. That's right, Mr. Beerus, Whis replied. I see that this child has a tail, but what is this third eye? Besides, his power is high enough to be a Scion, especially for his age. How interesting, it seems that our trip to this disgusting planet is not going to be as boring as I thought, Beerus said with a smile on his face. Perfect, this was the reaction I wanted and expected. Beerus approached Broly and bowed to his height and staring at his third eye asked, Hey, brat, what is this third eye? From when did the Scions have eyes on their foreheads? Broly with a respectful attitude responded, I don't know what this third eye is. I was born with it and from what I've heard there's never been any Scion with anything like that. As for what he does, with it I am able to see far away no matter what is in between, see things in more detail and are also able to move objects with my mind very easily and I am also able to use telepathy and other mental skills. Sir. Beerus and Whis were surprised for a fraction of a second and Whis said, it must be some kind of mutation Mr. Beerus. Will this mutation have something to do with its high level of power? Beerus, strangely curious, entertained and satisfied with the respectful attitude of the little boy, asked him, I see that you have something small future, the Scions have some potential. What are you doing in this desolate place so far from the city? Well, for now everything is fine, now it's time to take a risk. Broly without changing in the least his respectful and servile attitude said, feigning something of concern, this, you will see. Due to my third eye people don't like it and they always say bad things about me, so I usually escape when I can to train my body and my eye, although I shouldn't be here. Beerus and Whis murmured, losing some interest in the conversation. Broly immediately acted, grabbing a backpack that had by his side, please gentlemen, don't tell anyone, in return I will give you these extra special sandwich plus I have prepared this morning, said Broly as he took 2 sandwiches with telekinesis from his backpack and approached them to Beerus and Whis. I've been practicing for months my cooking skills that I bought that god bastard. Despite the few ingredients of the planet Vegeta, I got some of my minions to bring me delicious things from other planets and thanks to that, I have managed to recreate many delicious recipes. Every day during this year I have been preparing food and taking it with me waiting for your arrival, let's see what the result is. Beerus was surprised by the interesting offer of Broly and smelled the food, while Whis stood by his side observing the sandwiches with curiosity. I've never heard of that kind of sandwich, but it smells great. If they taste as good as they smell, it's possible that I think of your request, Beerus said as he took a bite of the sandwich. Whis ate it at the same time. Please, I hope you like it or I'm fucked. Delicious. What combination of flavors, textures, sauces. Whis, how is it that I've never heard of this delicacy? Beerus said, incredibly enthusiastic. It's right, Mr. Beerus, it's delicious, said Whis with a great smile. Perfect, let's continue. Broly, relieved, but pretending to be happy, said, I'm glad my food is liked by 2 people as extremely strong as you. If you wish, I can give you the recipe, so you can prepare it yourself if you wish. With those words, the reaction of Beerus and Whis changed drastically. That reaction was not abnormal. Both Beerus and Whis had the key of the gods, a kind of energy imperceptible to any mortal. It was impossible for someone who did not have the key of the gods to be able to know at a glance how strong they were. However, this strange Scion boy seemed to be able to know that they were strong. That made them both doubt. Beerus, to understand what these words were due, asked, "What do you mean we are extremely strong? Are you able to feel our ki?" "Ha, well, I have been able to capture your interest through food and on this subject." Broly with respect and emotion responded, "No sir, I am not able to detect anything of your ki. The logic would be that you too have no ki, but it is impossible. Which means that either you have hidden it in an incredible way or, your ki is of a quality so superior to mine that it is impossible for me to detect it, and for a reason. My instinct tells me that you are surely the two strongest people in the entire universe." Whis and Beerus were fascinated by Broly's response. The strange 3-year-old boy before them was right in everything. It was impossible for him to have information about the divine ki and the gods. That meant that that child not only had strange abilities never before seen in a Scion, an incredibly powerful combat power for that universe and exquisite cooking skills, he also had a great intelligence and a terrifying instinct. "Fascinating," said Whis, who had erased his typical indifferent smile from his face. Beerus, surprised, fascinated, proud and satisfied with the words of Broly, asked, "Oh, and how strong do you think we are? Tell me, if we compare King Vegeta and Frieza with me, what would be the difference?" "Perfect, everything goes according to plan." Broly, without thinking too much, replied, "I could only see Frieza once, but the difference between him and King Vegeta was extremely surprising, as if King Vegeta was a flea and Frieza was a dog. And as for the difference between you and Frieza, my instinct tells me it's the same difference between a dog and a god." Beerus, incredibly satisfied with the answer, said, "Ha ha ha, I see that you are very intelligent and have a great instinct. That's right, it's a very good comparison of powers, ha ha ha, you have put me in a good mood, little boy." As in the manga, anime, and film, he loves to be praised, especially when he thinks they don't do it forcefully because of his identity. Whis, who was equally surprised, but was also concerned about other matters, told Beerus, "Mr. Beerus, I understand that I'm having a good time, but don't you think we should go to King Vegeta's palace to end that matter?" Beerus became serious again and said, I think you're right, Whis, let's go to our goal. This has been refreshing. Good, now or never. I hope you don't get angry. This. Mr. Beerus, Mr. Whis. I know it may sound presumptuous, inconsiderate and daring on my part to ask this, but would you be so kind to have a training match with me? If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.